Peter will be like, you are a nightmare at night because you steal the covers, you pull them on you, then you take them off, then you end up with them on the floor, then you toss and turn. She's like, I don't know what you're doing.
I'm sweating to death. That's what I'm doing.
As we age, we can't still enjoy our lives to the fullest. So take care of all the parts so that you can be this complete aging human and still have fun on every level.
Welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're three sisters who grew up in the Midwest together, but have since spread across the country. I live in Los Angeles.
I'm in Nashville.
And I live in Philadelphia. We are all married with children. We've all had careers, but now we stay at home with our families.
We've all been through ups and downs that come along with life and have always helped each other through, shared stories, and laughed together.
We welcome all of you into our daily conversations and hope you have some fun with us.
So let's jump in.
Hello, we are the Three Little Fishes. So happy you joined us and found us. Please like and subscribe and comment to our YouTube channel or wherever you're getting your pods. Okay, y'all, let's jump in this morning. So I am back from being up north, and I'm trying to get my sea legs back. So my travel home was hard. I ended up not getting home back to LA until 4 o'clock in the morning because we had all these travel delays. And like a dingbat, I scheduled a mammogram for the morning I got back. Because
what the hell were you thinking?
Well, I was really past due. And I was trying to get in, and this was the first appointment I could get. So I just took it. And so I am tired. So I have 2 hours of sleep. I'm dropping Riley off at practice in the morning, heading to get this mammogram. I'm delirious, but I'm doing it. I'm making this appointment. So I change, I get the robe on. She does all the unpleasantness to my boobs. It's happening. It got done. And, it's not fun. I go back into the dressing room and I see this big giant sign that I had to have seen or noticed when I was actually changing that said, you only have to take off your top. You may leave your pants on.
What'd you do? Oh, no. What'd you do?
But I was so delirious. I stripped down and just had my panties on. So this poor tech who was giving me my mammogram and squishing my boobs and all the things, I'm in my little panties. And I'm sure she's like, what is this crazy person doing that she does not have pants on for this mammogram? I was horrified. And I wonder what's wrong with my brain that I thought that I had to take off my pants to go have this test done.
Let's go with you had a dress on. You had a sundress on.
I think it's fine, Nancy. It's fine.
I'm sure that's not the worst thing they've ever seen.
I mean, is it? I was like,
you could have been completely naked.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I guess I could have. I remember to keep on my panties. So I guess that is a good thing.
That's so funny.
So how is everybody else doing?
I'm good. We're back at school. I mean, our youngest is started school on Monday. To me, it's bananas.
Oh, I did not realize that. Oh my gosh. How's it going?
So, we had a whole debacle about schedules. We got it all worked out, I think. So it's going to be fine. But it was a rough couple of days, the start to the week. And day one, he was late to school. My alarm didn't go off. I mean, I had a serious conversation listen, we're not paying for college if you can't get your butt up and go to school on time. I'm not doing this. So the last 2 days, 3 days, he has been on time. But I was like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you?
A little senioritis day one. Little senioritis, I would say.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ass year.
We don't even start school till after Labor Day, a month later.
I wish. I think because we live in the South and it's so hot here, they start school. We have air conditioning. Back in Chicagoland, we didn't have air conditioning, so we started school a little later. But I mean, I don't know. I don't love it. I wish we started in September and I wish we ended at the end of May,
Agreed.
Yeah.
but
I wish
we
we were the
don't.
same. We start next week too. We start next Monday.
It's too early.
It's too
Yeah.
early. Agreed.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in
I
it.
don't like that.
I don't like it either. So, Kathy, I
Kath,
see you're home too.
So, yes, I am home. Leaving Canada was sad, and our travel was long too because we kind of did straight through. And I had we caravan with the kids, and my kids actually had friends. So, we are trying to like help them get part way across the country because the friends' flights got canceled. So, the
I am
poor,
very I'm very much aware of those flights because we were on the same flight.
yeah.
Thank you,
So,
Delta.
so they unfortunately had to drive with my kids home to Pennsylvania, which is like a 22 plus hour drive. So they were
Yeah, it's
not
long.
thrilled. So my husband and I caravan with them till Wisconsin, till Madison, Wisconsin, because we had to kind of break off and go to a wedding. So we at least made it halfway for them, which I felt better about, that we were at
Yeah,
least had our eyes on them if they had any trouble, because they were also trailering a boat, which was
right.
like, I was just worried,
A
like, oh my
lot.
gosh, they're going to have a flat tire like we did, years ago, or something's going to happen. But,
Yeah.
and then they also had our puppy, which I also was thinking, this is not going to go well. Like,
Yeah. They
these
did it.
kids are not even going to talk to one another or me when they get home because there's going to be so many issues. But it ended up, actually, the dog was just like fine, which surprised me. So,
Right. Well, she was a lot on your trip up, but she's a
yeah,
month older,
yeah.
so that's a big deal in dog years, dog
And
time.
no trailer problems either. So I was
Oh,
very
good.
happy. They all got home safely, and we made it to Wisconsin, and I was exhausted. And Peter and I, we stayed at a hotel for a few nights by ourselves, and it was lovely.
I mean, I don't even know what that would be like these days. I'm like jealous of that. A hotel room by yourself for 2 nights. Like that sounds delicious.
It
It
does.
actually was pretty nice. I think we both were so tired that I think just sleeping was like nice to just be asleep.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
And air conditioning.
nothing
yeah.
says you're like in your late 50s when you're like, hey, if we're in a hotel by ourselves, just sleep, honey. Just sleep.
Well, I mean, just even having air conditioning, because in at the cabin we had no air and it was so hot and we were all sweating. And I normally am a person that does not sweat, but now that I've aged,
That's us, yeah.
I have periodically been hot sleeping, which is a sign that I'm like menopausal or whatever, perimenopausal,
Yeah.
because there are times that I wake up and I'm like, my pajamas are drenched. And
Ew.
Mhm.
Peter will be like, you are a nightmare at night because you steal the covers, you pull them on you, then you take them off. Then you end up with them on the floor. Then you toss and turn. She's like, I don't know what you're doing.
I'm
And so,
sweating. I'm sweating. I'm sweating to death. That's what I'm doing.
no, I
Well,
never
it's like,
realized it. Like when it first started happening, I think I didn't really understand what was going on. I thought I just was hot and we needed to like turn up the air conditioning.
mhm,
But it is a sign that, like, the menopause,
mhm.
which is kind of what we're talking about today.
Yeah. Well, we keep our bedroom at night at 67.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that
Yeah.
is
cold.
chilly. Because I
Yeah.
normally am cold. Like during the day, I don't have any problems. It's more like at night.
Yeah.
And so, um, yeah, Peter and I've had some interesting conversations about it.
Yeah. Talking in the middle of the night is not great either, ever.
No.
I do that too, though. Sometimes where I'll like kick a foot out, then I'll kick a foot back in. I'll kick a foot out of the covers. I'll put them back in. Um,
I notice these days that I am definitely getting to be perimenopausal and my sleep is affected. Like I definitely am not sleeping like I used to. Like I wake up an
mhm,
awful lot. So I feel like I'm constantly tired, which
mhm.
I don't think is great for anybody to in my house for me to always feel tired.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
makes you crabby.
when you feel tired, it's awful. Like I
Yeah.
actually did not sleep well the night we got back because my dog had to go to the vet for the day after we got back, and she got all these vaccines because she was finally old enough to get them, and she had a rough night, and she got me up a couple times, and I was like, oh my
Mm,
gosh, this is like for the birds.
I will say, like, just a little side note that Millie, your puppy, your black lab puppy, is the cutest thing ever. And when we first got her, when I first was spending time with her in Canada, I'm like, I might need one of these. I might need to do it. My dog Coco might need a pet, might need a friend. And after spending, time with her for more than just a couple days, I'm cured of the puppy. It's like a baby. I want to visit, but I want to like give it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think she might be in like, I wouldn't say depression, but since we've been home, she's like, what the hell? Like,
right.
what is
Where
this
did the lake
place?
go?
Where did the water go?
This isn't
Where's my
fun.
free reign to like wrap around? And it's like we have her, walled off in our kitchen and her crate area. And
Yeah.
then outside, she's not able to go outside by herself because we don't have a fence.
Right.
And so I called yesterday the invisible fence people because I was like, when I was at the vet told me she actually is old enough that they could probably start training her on it. So I was like, okay, I got to call them. So I got it scheduled. So they're going to come out tomorrow and help her. But I think she feels like she's in prison here.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's a totally different ball game than being up at the lake and having,
yeah. So
free reign
anyway,
to go explore everywhere. Yeah, she's a doll. I
so
don't want another one
anybody,
either.
I think we're all adjusting to being back. I think, it's when you're on vacation for a long time, it's like totally a different regimen, right? And now we're in real life again. And it's like, oh, we have stuff we have to do. So
Mhm.
we're all adjusting. I actually am a little sad this week myself, just because I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I
I
get
got a lot
it.
of
Yeah,
chores to do. Stink.
I know. I'm the same way.
Oh,
But
anyway.
it's also good to get back and like reconnect with all your friends, and
Yeah.
I've gone
Yeah,
out
I
a few
need to do that.
times. And
I'm going for a walk with a friend on Friday, but I need to connect with some more people and figure it
yeah,
out.
That
So,
sounds nice.
it does.
um, so I was telling you, we're our topic today is just menopause and perimenopause, and kind of we wanted to talk about it just because it's something people don't talk about.
I
Like,
know it's
I mean,
weird.
people don't like tell you, oh my gosh, you guys, this is coming up, and
Right.
there are things that are going to happen, and you're going to be like, what is happening to me? And
Right.
Well,
nobody talks about it. It's
I know.
weird.
It's interesting too because we also it brought up because we had comments from listeners who said Nancy's in perimenopausal, and I must have been I don't know what I was complaining about. I don't remember, but I must have been heat or maybe my mood. But even up north, Kathy was like, Nancy, what's wrong with you? You used to let things like roll off your back, and now you're like more sensitive. And I was like,
Mhm.
my kids are saying that they think that I'm more edgy, which I don't want to be because I've never been edgy. So it just has got me thinking that I need to kind of be mindful of my mood as I'm definitely, clearly I'm having some changes. And it's
Mhm.
weird to kind of try to figure out my new body and chemistry as I'm moving forward.
Right.
I think for me too, I'm surprised because I kind of said it last week, I think, but a year ago, I'm coming up on a year almost, I had to have a hysterectomy. And before I had my hysterectomy, I felt terrible. I was like hemorrhaging. I had headaches. I physically felt
Yeah,
terrible to the
yeah.
point
You would.
where I couldn't. we had to do this was my last alternative. And I was really struggling with making that decision. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to get this done and I'm going to feel amazing. My mood's going to be great. I'm physically going to feel wonderful. Like it's going to just, and so it kind of did. Like physically, I feel better. My headaches are gone. I'm not hemorrhaging, which is great. But now I'm noticing I like not sleeping as well. My mood apparently is something I have to be mindful of. So now it's just like, I feel like I'm on this like crazy road that I don't understand. I don't understand the landscape of it as I'm trying to like figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think menopause could be tricky. And I just kind of wanted to go over just a little brief like summary of kind of what it is. So if listeners, are listening to and are wondering, am I going through this?
Right.
Menopause happens. You're technically in menopause 12 months without having your period. And it's usually the average age is like 51, but it can be in your 40s and later in your 50s. It kind of just varies, but that's about the average age. And just some symptoms to be aware of are mood changes, Nancy. Like, things don't roll off your back or you feel very irritable, like PMS. That is like menopause. Irregular periods, vaginal dryness, hot flashes, chills, sweats. The big thing is sleep disturbances, weight gain, which is not cool, and thinning hair, which I don't have, but that is also not cool. But perimenopause is kind of like, right before menopause. And it's more
Right.
like you'll start to notice your periods are more sporadic. You'll maybe go a couple months, then you'll have a period, and then you won't have a period again. You're like in that phase of it starting to happen to you. So
Yeah.
those are just things to be mindful. And I was looking at like on Google, and it made me think of you, Nancy, because I was looking
Oh
at
boy.
Pinterest, and they were talking about funny jokes about menopause, and this one came up it's from Some E-Cards, and it says,
Yeah.
the quote is, "Just so we're clear about this, I'm under no obligation to stay in the same mood for any length of time." So I think, like I can get moody. So around myself, I always had PMS as a teenager. And I think now when I'm kind of in that stage, I get kind of PMSy, but I do also get the night sweats.
Yeah.
And so my doctor put me on like I'm basically on a birth control patch. And I've been on it for like almost 2.5 years now. And
Yeah.
that's kind of controlling my emotions. But when I have my period, so the birth control patch is like I take it for 3 weeks and I'm off for a week. When I'm off for a week, I do have the night sweats, which is
Oh,
awful. And I have a
yeah.
little bit of the PMS. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm one of those people that I know if I were not on like any medication, like the estrogen, I think I'd be off the rails because I would
Yeah.
be like constantly sweating and PMSing, which would be no fun for anybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Mostly
think I'm
you.
just one of those people. So I think eventually she's going to get me off this patch and I'm going to probably just go on like an estrogen progestin patch is what I
Yeah.
suspect that she'll put me on. But Lena, you always listen to that Leanne Morgan. She has a funny clip about menopause, right?
She does. She talks about she looks at the audience and she calls them all the pretty little young people and cute. And she'll be like, this is what you have to look forward to. You got the beagles in your bed, and then you're sweating up a storm, and you can't sleep, and you get all this middle. I used to be, and she's like, I used to be so cute and fun and little, and now this is what you have to look forward to. She's so funny. So listeners, you haven't listened to her, look up Leanne Rhymes, or not Leanne Rhymes, Leanne Morgan. She is so stinking funny.
She talked on that clip about her hair. She's like, I get the night sweats and morning my hair looks like chicken fuzz. And I can relate. I can totally relate to that. Like my hair, I'll be like, what in the heck just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
No, it's
Yeah.
not a good look for anybody. I mean,
So-
I agree, Kathy. I feel like it's one of those things like when I'm out having drinks with friends and we're all kind of in the same 10 years of each other and we're all going through kind of the same thing and we'll talk at drinks, but it's not something that's normalized. And I feel like it's so silly not to support one another and give each other ideas about what works and what doesn't work and, you know, how to be more healthful in this phase of life because we all go through it.
Yeah, it just
So
seems like, why don't we talk about this? I mean, I know there are some people that believe in hormone treatment, some people don't. I think, people just have to decide what is right for them, um, as far as treatment goes. But I definitely think you need something if you're having a hard time, because I don't think anybody should go through and suffer.
Yeah.
It's not
exactly.
like life is short. We don't need to
Right.
be suffering for 10 years
And
with
if you
through
Right.
ever go to
this.
the doctor and they say, "Oh, this is just part of life," walk out. That
Yeah.
person's not there to help you. There's no
Yeah.
reason to go through life not feeling good.
I mean,
So for me, I don't do hormone replacement. Nancy, about your age, had a hysterectomy, but I had so much estrogen
Yeah.
that my doctor at the time was like, "Oh, no, 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 you can't have any hormones. Like, you have so many hormones. There's nothing."
right.
So I started doing this sort of like natural thing, and it's from this company Bonafide in Europe. And it's just like an all natural supplement. And I've been doing that for 10, 15 years. And for me, that really helps. It doesn't completely eliminate all night sweats, but it's probably 95%. Like I really don't suffer at all.
So-
And then the other thing I do is I really do try to work out. I try and eat a lot of whole foods and eat a lot of fiber and eat a lot of protein so that I think balanced nutrition, which we should all be doing if you're perimenopausal or menopausal or young or whatever anyway, I think kind of helps balance stuff out for me. But I have been very fortunate. I feel like I didn't have a lot of female problems until I almost bled to death. But
Until that one time where
until that one time I almost died.
I literally had to be rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery, but just that one time.
Other than that, I've been fine. So
But I
to me,
would-
this like holistic sort of approach has really worked for me. I do agree, Kathy. You got to find what works for you. And you do have to kind of keep trying things and talking to your doctors about it because there's no reason to suffer.
But
Yeah.
I would just really quickly circle back. Like we just joked about you almost like dying, like bleeding out. But I will say, and just like to throw it out to our listeners and not, I feel like your doctors weren't listening to you when you were giving symptoms at the time.
They weren't.
And and then what they were doing was making things worse. So
Mhm.
I feel like it's really important to make sure that you're listening, the caregiver's listening to you, so you don't get in a situation where it's emergency and you're like bleeding out and having to have an emergency hysterectomy, which is what happened to you.
Right.
So
Right.
Right.
just make sure that you're being heard by your caregiver, whoever that is.
Right.
Yeah, I just think people need to, be smart about their health care. And if they're having or going through this, they should make an appointment just to talk about what some treatment options are, what their symptoms are, because everybody's different. And,
Yeah.
you want to make sure that you're doing the thing that's best for your health. So, and there's also just other remedies that you can do, like layering. They say avoid caffeine. Like, you
Oh,
don't want to have
No.
caffeine when you're at night because that
Yeah.
will, but you know
Well.
what else too? I ran into this when I was kind of researching menopause is Kegels. Because some people have
Yes.
like urinary,
Yes.
your pelvic floor
Incontinence.
kind of drops as
Yeah.
you age.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
you need to make sure you're doing your Kegels is very
Mhm.
important,
Yeah.
which also people don't tell you about.
No,
Right.
they
So,
don't. And, honestly, part of functional health is incorporating some jumping into your exercise regimen, which is tough if you have a weak pelvic floor, but it does really
right,
help maintain your pelvic floor if you can do some jumping in your exercise regimen. I mean, I
right,
really find that is super, super helpful. And it improves your sex life. Like, you want a strong pelvic floor. We want to
Right.
still have intimate time with our significant others. And
I
there's
know.
no reason why,
We're
as
getting
we age, we can't
right.
still enjoy our lives to the fullest.
Right.
So take care of all the parts so that you can be this complete aging human and still have fun on every
Right.
right.
level.
Totally.
Yeah. My friend Donna said to me, her biggest thing is exercise has
Yeah.
helped
Yeah.
with her going through all of this. Just it gets stress out. It makes you stronger. It helps your bones. And I feel like myself, I love to exercise. It makes me feel better. And then we had a couple other listeners that gave us some advice, like
Oh,
what
let's
they
hear it.
do. One said she plays her music. So
Mhm.
music makes her happy.
Get those
She, le-
endorphins going.
I
she
like
leans
it.
on love,
Uh,
reading, golf,
mhm,
cooking. She
mhm.
loves to spend time outdoors and eat cake occasionally.
Eat. Eat the cake.
Eat the cake. I
And
love
then
it.
another listener said, stay hydrated is
Oh,
very important.
yeah.
And that listener is a nurse, and I completely trust what she says. And she said also cut back on alcohol. It can affect your sleep. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm not cutting back on my alcohol, but I think
That's a no. That's a
you
no
have to be
starter for me.
mindful. Yeah. But they also said, one said they used a cooling fan as like a handheld fan is something you can try if you get one of those hot flashes. You can try a fan, and then there's like a cooling bracelet that you can put in the freezer, and you wear it, and can kind of lower your body temperature. So we put both of those ideas in the show notes, but those are just some tips that some of our listeners gave
So
us.
we are loving all your comments and giving us tips. Please continue to write into us, and you all can email us. I'm just going to remind you of our email. It's 3lfpod@gmail.com. 3lfpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, y'all. So, what is for dinner now that we're back into our normal lives? What do you guys got going on?
So my husband's out of town, and when he's out of town, I make things that I know he's not going to like. So butter chicken is on the docket tonight because
Oh,
it's Indian, and the kids and I love it, but his stomach can't handle it. So that is what's
oh,
going
I
to
see.
happen. Yeah, it's too
Rich.
flavorful.
Oh,
Too flavorful? Is that what you just
You
said?
know,
He
the
can't
poor
handle the
guy.
spices.
No, he has like GERD, so
oh,
he can't. It's not good for anybody.
oh.
It's too uncomfortable. So we're doing butter chicken tonight, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah. What
That's
about you
funny.
guys? Yeah, poor guy.
I am doing leftover. We did pulled chicken, barbecue chicken last night. We did sliders, and we have leftover. And so tonight, I'm going to make nachos with it. We're going to just have barbecued chicken nachos for
Oh,
dinner.
Oh, that
good.
sounds good.
That sounds yummy.
Um, I am going to make my friend Donna's chicken cutlets. They're
Ooh.
fantastic. I think that she has become a pro at this because she always had to feed the ski team. in the winter.
Oh.
So she'd make chicken cutlet sandwiches for everybody, and it was a hit. So we have enclosed the recipe in the show notes for you all.
Nice. Thank you.
It sounds
Yeah.
good. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try that recipe that you post
I
maybe
love
over the
that.
weekend.
I'm going to try that too. That sounds really good. And it sounds healthy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
You know, we're all supposed to be getting more protein in our diets.
Yes.
right.
Which
Yeah.
I really am trying to do, because I do feel like I don't eat enough protein, and I don't think my kids eat enough protein.
Yeah. Getting the
Yeah,
protein and getting the protein and the fiber,
Yeah.
I think is really beneficial as we age. So yeah, I'm going to try that. That chicken cutlet recipe sounds really good.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you,
So
You're the best.
we want to thank you for listening to our podcast and letting us sisters jump into your day. Make sure to follow, rate, and review us. We want your feedback. Have a good rest of your summer. I know there's only a couple weeks left for some of you anyway. Have a great week and weekend. Sisters out.